What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Surrey Stingers, bringing you guys our Week 7 match for the PTL Season 2 Division 2, taking on Bloodcrawler and the Leuven Larvitars. We are really close in the standings, so this is a really big match because we could either leapfrog over Blood or we will fall further down into the depths of the standings. Right now, we're sitting in a playoff spot technically, as we head into the back half of the season here. I've got some difficult games ahead of me against really tough opponents, and some tough matchups in terms of team bias. We actually play, oh my god, we play Megalodios into Tapu Lele, into Aegislash, into Tapu Koko, into Celesteela. We actually played all four of the Tapus in our last 6 matches. Actually, our last or 5 of our last 6 matches. Before the last match, we play all 4 of the Tapus, which is a really interesting factoid there. In terms of Blood's team, he has the Tapu Bulu, Heatran, Hawlucha, Latios, Manaphy Z, Silvally, Palossand, Lickitung, Megabeedrill, Aerodactyl Z, Sneasel, and Swadloon. I mentioned in the team builder, he could have brought a variety of options. I was really expecting an offensive standpoint with Bulu, Tran, Lucha, Latios, Manaphy, Megabeedrill. He opted to leave Bulu, Lucha, Latios on the bench, which is amazing for me. We don't see the Palossand, so it looks like he wasn't really prepping for the Raikou. Maybe he didn't expect the Raikou to come for various reasons. I'm not entirely sure why, but Swadloon is probably his only Raikou check. We don't know the Silvally type, obviously, of course. The Manaphy is a big problem, so I've got to deal with that. I'm really glad I changed the Blastoise set last minute in the team builder away from the AV set, and I'm glad that I put on Roar over HP Flying. HP Flying would have been all right here in a 1v1 against the Swadloon, realistically, but I'd much rather have the Roar to phase things out, and we'll see why. I'm so glad that I have it a little bit into the match there. Silvally could be relatively annoying. I'm not entirely sure what it's going to be. Beedrill I'm not really scared of. Like I mentioned in the team builder, I'm a very defensive Garchomp that's meant to punish it with Rough Skin, Rocky Helmet, and Hazard Damage should whittle it down a lot too. The removal options on his team are Silvally and Beedrill. It's more than likely Silvally that's going to be carrying the defog. I don't really think it's Silvally normal is basically what I'm saying. It wouldn't make sense for him to necessarily bring a type weak to Mega Lopunny either, because this team is stupid weak to Mega Lopunny. You know, he does have fighting answers in the Swadloon and the Beedrill, but I'm not entirely sure what his main... Swadloon is probably his main switch into Lopunny. It's going to be a blanket check to a lot of things there. Braviary looks amazing. Jirachi doesn't look that good with Hawlucha gone. My Grassy Seed is completely worthless, yeah, that's kind of the whole idea of what the team is. So if you haven't seen the team builder, I'll briefly explain what I am. I'm a leftovers defensive Blastoise to deal with the Manaphy. I'm a Rocky Helmet Rough Skin. Rocks, 3 attacks Garchomp, I believe, actually. I'm 4 attacks Mega Lopunny, Spikes, Life Orb, Roserade. I'm a Scarf Braviary. I am a T-Wave, Future Sighting, Grassy Seed, Jirachi. So that is what's going on there. Again, I kind of expected most of this. Silvally was iffy on my part. I really thought something else would come instead of Silvally. Maybe Palossand made a little bit more sense. But if this is his defogger, then that makes a lot of sense. I'm just going to lead off with the Braviary. In reality, it stops a Swadloon lead unless he's sashed, essentially. It stops a Beedrill lead because he should know that I'm Scarfed right off the bat. Considering I'm leading with it, it would threaten out his Beedrill, which is amazing. And if it's Heatran, I can U-turn into something else like Blastoise, maybe Rapid Spin away the rocks that he might want to set up. If it's Manaphy, I don't know why you'd lead Manaphy against my team. It seems a little bit weird, but again, U-turn into the Blastoise. Sneasel, I would probably hard switch into... Blastoise, or maybe the Lopunny, depending on what his set was. So I'm just going to leave with the Braviary here, as he is going to lead with the Mega Beedrill. So I threaten him out right away, which is a really free U-turn, and we see that he's Silvally Steel. So I'm just going to go harden my Garchomp here. We really threaten this thing out right away. We see that he's fully physically defensive, so if I'm offensive Chomp with Earthquake, I obliterate this right now, and he's got to be really scared of that. So he's going to opt to switch out as I get to set up rocks pretty much for free. I am a defensive variant with Stomping Tantrum, so it's really not a problem for me. As a Swadloon comes in and it chews that Poison Jab, this is a very physically defensive Swadloon, and there's the agility. So agility scared the shit out of me, and I'm not sure what other moves this thing has, but Yeah, it's scary, especially because I know this thing gets baton pass because I know that Leuven does. So he's definitely going to try and speed pass into something. Potentially the Manaphy. I was expecting like a Z Rain Dance Manaphy, but he could be speed pass into a Tail Glow Z Manaphy, which would be fucking terrifying. Or speed pass into like offensive Heatran would be scary. I'm not really scared of speed pass into Beedrill. I don't think he would want to speed pass into Sneasel. Um, I don't think he'd want to speed pass back into the Silvally Steel. It's really weird to me. It's actually weird to me that he's Silvally Steel as well. Probably just to take less from rocks, maybe? Maybe he has a Jirachi check, a better Jirachi check than Heatran somehow, but that's the whole idea behind that, I guess. I am just going to harden my Blastoise and get a Roar off, because I'm not letting him speed pass into anything here. He did go for the Toxic, so now I'm just going to click Roar as he Synthesis. We bring in the Silvally. It's not great for us, but it's not horrible. We get Chip on it. Useful Chip because he doesn't have any recovery, as he's going to defog on my Jirachi switch. I'm just going to click T-Wave. It's my best bet to just, wear something down, as he does show the Flamethrower. So really cool to know that he's got Flamethrower. This is going to let me throw up a Future Sight. It's a nice way to sort of keep the Mega Beedrill from coming in, or a nice way from keeping the Manaphy from coming in, and if the Swadloon does come in, then that's a problem, but he's got 3 Mons to deal with my Jirachi, and the Heatran, the Sneasel, and the Silvally, so I'm not super worried about Jirachi's usefulness this game. Hawlucha didn't even come, so it's not really worth my time to do anything besides just click Thunder Wave on a couple things and slow things down. I have no utility on this Jirachi besides that, so it's really just here to maybe get a little bit of damage off against his no recovery team, bar the Swadloon, and then go from there. So I'm just going to throw off the Future Sight as we get burned by the Flamethrower. Not a huge deal, the 10% isn't that big of a problem with Jirachi. I'm just going to go into my Braviary on what I expect to be another Flamethrower. Hopefully I don't get burnt, and I don't. I don't threaten this out with the... I don't threaten it out with a Superpower yet, but I can bait in damage as he gets a crit with the Flash Cannon. So that crit actually sucks a little bit because it sort of means my Garchomp's not in the best spot against his team all that much. I would much rather Garchomp be in a better situation health-wise against the Mega Beedrill, so I can punish it with the Rough Skin Rocky Helmet. So yeah, that crit Flash Cannon does suck a lot, but we are going to get some useful chip off with the U-turn plus the Future Sight damage this turn. So I figure I probably threaten him out. He hasn't seen that I don't have Earthquake yet. Stomping Tantrum, I am defensive, which he also won't be able to figure out because he crit me with the Flash Cannon. Excuse me. So if I do have Earthquake and I'm offensive, I will kill this. What I'm going to opt to do instead is just double into my Lopunny on the what I expected to be Swadloon. So I could have set up rocks, but instead I'm just going to go for the Fake Out, sort of get some more chip on the Swadloon and double into my Roserade here on the Toxic. So I knew he was going to click Toxic, or he was going to click Agility again. Agility would have put him in a really bad spot because then he has to baton pass into something that doesn't appreciate Roserade. Roserade has an amazing offensive matchup here, or he would have to Agility pass into the Beedrill, which is going to want to U-turn out anyway, so it's kind of just a waste of an Agility pass either way. Yeah, like Roserade offensively threatens his team really hard because I'm Hidden Power Ground, and he opted to bring Silvally's Steel and Heatran. Yeah, so I basically get to get up a Spike here, which is really important to chip down a lot of stuff as this Silvally comes in. This looks like it's a roll for my Hidden Power Ground to kill him, depending on how much investment he has. He's shown to be very physically defensive, so I can't imagine he's got that much special bulk. So I'm just going to go for the Hidden Power Ground. I am Life Orb, and we are going to see that it's not going to kill him, as he is going to get the defog off on my Spike. Alright, so I really want the Spike up. This Silvally dies to any hit now, so he's leaving Silvally in. So I'm going to try and play around his defog usage by making sure that I'm able to get up a Spike on a turn that he's not clicking defog. So I think right now he's not going to click defog. He's most likely going to click Flamethrower or Ice Beam if he has it. He probably doesn't have Ice Beam. He's probably got Parting Shot as the last move, but I'm worried about him having Ice Beam for the Garchomp. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because he's a type weak to Garchomp, so he probably doesn't have the Ice Beam for Garchomp. But yeah, I'm just going to set up a Spike here as well. 1 layer is all I need as he does a shitload of damage and gets another 10% burn. So we've actually been hacked pretty hard. Oh my god, I bet you can hear the fire or the smoke alarm. So I'm just going to let that go away. Hopefully someone will turn it off, or I'll just keep going and you guys can hear it the entire time. Yeah, so I threaten this Silvally with any move I can click. The fact that he flamethrowered means I can just kill this now, and my Spike is up for the game, which is really useful. Spike and getting rocks up at some point would be extremely useful. Swadloon, Sneasel, and the Beedrill all taking a ton of damage from it. There we go. The smoke alarm is off now. So I'm just going to kill the Silvally with a Giga Drain here. It's going to net me a little bit of extra health because I gain the health, but then I'm taking Life Orb plus burn damage. Beedrill comes in. I'm just going to sack off my Jirachi here. It was my best play. I could have gone into the Garchomp and dealt a shitload of damage to this with U-turn, but as he goes into Sneasel here, it wasn't worth my time to do that because I want to get rocks up. And so keeping Garchomp a little bit healthy to get rocks up on the Swadloon is really useful. So he's going to bring in the Sneasel. I've shown a Fake Out on the Lopunny. I'm just going to go for the return, sort of scout the damage on the Swadloon a little bit, see if it's a 2-shot. Maybe, potentially, after the Spike, it might be a 2-shot since he's taken a little bit of damage there. But he brought in the Sneasel on the Spike, so Sneasel's weakened. He's threatened by a Fake Out and whatnot. Like, I could definitely go for a Fake Out here, threaten his Sneasel, chip it down a lot, which will not help the Sneasel's longevity. I'm not entirely sure what sort of set it is. He could be like Scarf Tran or Scarf Sneasel. That's like my best idea of what sort of Scarfer he would want to bring against me if he was bringing one, because the Latios didn't come. So he's going to want to have something that can maybe deal with Raikou, or outspeed Raikou potentially, or the Mega Lopunny, outside of Mega Beedrill, because he knows that Fake Out and Quick Attack is a set on Mega Lopunny, and that really threatens Mega Beedrill out a lot. So he is just going to swap into the Swadloon on my return. And we see that it is not even close to a 2-shot, as do 31. I would definitely need a crit, and that's my best move to hit this with, outside of Ice Punch, which I don't think was doing enough. So I go into the Braviary to threaten that out, and it's a really easy U-turn for me as he goes into the Tran. A really easy U-turn for me, actually into my Garchomp. So we don't see an item, but I can't imagine this is his Scarfer. I'm really thinking it's the Sneasel. So I'm going to eat up my rocks and trade my life there. I could have killed this, especially now that we see Life Orb. I could have just directly killed this, but that would have brought Sneasel back in, and I really value rocks a lot more than Garchomp's life at this point in the game. Garchomp's designed to handle the Beedrill and punish it, but Beedrill's switching all around on rocks plus a Spike. It's taking... was at 37% each time it switches in. It's only at 88 now, so it can only switch in two more times, and that's if it really has to. So this lets me bring in my Mega Lopunny, and I threaten anything out, or I threaten the Heatran out, at least, into the Swadloon. He's going to want to keep Heatran around as a flying resist for the Braviary, so I'm just going to be able to double into my Roserade, and I catch the Swadloon coming in. I'm able to kill it with the Sludge Bomb and just die. He probably thought that it wasn't worth his time to continuously play that battle with Swadloon because of the hazard damage that was going to rack up on it. So I was just able to click the Sludge Bomb. Had he gone into Heatran, it really wouldn't have mattered because I could have just clicked Hidden Power Ground on the Heatran. He could have maybe swapped around a little bit and got me to kill myself, but he's still taking the hazards damage. So it's a net loss for him, realistically, in that case. And killing Swadloon means that Mega Lopunny has free reign here. I'm just able to click Fake Out really freely with Mega Lopunny as he brings in the Manaphy. He takes the hazard damage, just going to take some Fake Out damage, which will put it in range of a high jump kick. So I'm just going to click it. Hopefully he's not Protect Manaphy, and he's not, so Manaphy just drops. In comes the Sneasel. I am 100% sure this is Scarf Sneasel at this point, and is clicking something like Low Kick. I'm going to go hard into my Blastoise. He's not clicking Knockoff because I'm a Mega Lopunny in on his face, and I think he might want to click an Ice move, potentially, or Low Kick. So Blastoise comes in on the Icicle Crash, chews it for days, as I'm going to click Roar this turn, and he switches into the Beedrill, which just punishes it even more, because now he's not getting damage with the Beedrill, and the Sneasel comes back in on rocks. I'm going to opt to kill the Sneasel here, and then the Heatran's going to come in, and I'm going to live in Earth Power and kill that. The game's over at this point. He said GG in the chat. That Roar play was really solid on my part to catch the Beedrill switching in, and basically put it in a position where he's not living a Fake Out for Mega Lopunny. It was pretty clutch that I lived the Earth Power there from the Heatran. Probably didn't matter because Mega Lopunny could have come in, clicked Fake Out, and just clicked High Jump Kick, but because of the hazard damage that he was taking, I was able to clean up this game really well. I think I played really well around setting the hazards at the right time and getting the Silvally chip down really quickly early on. Making sure that it was paralyzed was kind of important, although he probably wouldn't have outsped Roserade because I was like a max speed modest Roserade for the Heatran. Swadloon was a good bring on his part as a Megalopony check. I'm not sure what he wanted to agility pass into. It was more than likely Manaphy, but the Manaphy ended up doing absolutely nothing against my team. I think I pressured him really well with Braviary early on and put him in spots where I could get good chip damage off on things, especially turn 1, getting the U-turn chip off on the Silvally showed me it was physically defensive right away. His flying resists on his team were literally Heatran and Aerodactyl. He brought the Tran. He ended up bringing another flying resist for Braviary. Otherwise, Braviary would have just torn through him with Brave Birds. And so he ended up putting himself in a good position to deal with the Braviary, even though it was set up in a position where it could clean up late game potentially. There's definitely a situation where I win this game 1-0 rather than 2-0. Had I brought in Braviary instead. He kills me with Earth Power on the Blastoise. I bring in Braviary instead of Megalopony, not wanting to miss high jump kick. I click Super Power against the Heatran. Now I'm locked into Super Power. I have to sack my Megalopony essentially to bring Braviary back in to kill the Mega Beedrill. Or I could have sacked the Braviary and then won with Megalopony. But either way, Megalopony got 2 kills, Blastoise got 2 kills, and Roserade got 2 kills. All of the hazard support from Roserade and Garchomp didn't end up netting a kill, but they did so much chip damage to the Beedrill and the Sneasel combined. It was just incredible. I'm really excited and happy that we won this game. We now move up to 5-2 plus 9. It's a really commanding score to head into Week 8 with. There's only 5 weeks left, guys. So we are in a really solid spot to make playoffs at this stage. Next week, we take on Sacred Wings and the Houston Absols. This was actually a team originally coached by It's Shade99, who's our good pal from the NCL and whatnot, who ended up dropping the league, and then Lunar picked it up, and it was the United Kingdras, and then Lunar dropped the league. So this is the 3rd iteration of the team. It hasn't been changed since Lunar picked it up, but really scary Mega Latios and Fernape team. With a lot of a really good supporting cast actually behind it. So scary matchup. Hopefully it can go well, and I will catch you guys for that match.